There is a India-Pakistan standoff when it comes to the organization of the Champions Trophy. It's nothing new. It's been happening for the last month, couple of months, with both sides throwing punches at each other. But eventually a decision has to be made. And that is exactly what we're going to discuss in this video. What is it that is the most likely outcome that's going to be after the standoff between India and Pakistan, where both sides are refusing to take a step back? Now, when is that decision going to come? Most likely it's going to come on the 29th November. In fact, a decision will be taken on that day. Whether it comes out or not is another thing, but a major decision is going to be taken because the ICC stakeholders are coming together to decide that. It will be a virtual meeting. Some people may attend it in person, but majority of them are going to be attending this meeting virtually, 29th of November. And what is the composition of this meeting like? That's going to be very important, because that is going to determine in the end what the outcome is going to be. There are going to be 12 full members that will have a voting right each. Then there are going to be 3 associate members that are going to be there. So that makes it 15, and 1 ICC chair is also going to be casting a vote. That makes it a total of 16. It is usually 17 because there's also a women representative, but that is not there at the moment. So 16 votes in all, and they will be sitting on a table, and there will be some negotiations, after which a consensus will have to be reached. In case a consensus isn't reached, what could be the repercussions? That is what we're going to dwell a little more into in this particular video. Now, these are going to be the 3 options. I don't see any other option coming out of that meeting. One, and the most likely thing that is going to happen eventually, no matter what both sides say, no matter what sort of reportage that you see, that also depends on which side of the border it's coming from. But the most likely outcome is going to be the hybrid model, which will be played in Pakistan and UAE. So UAE could be then having the India matches, most likely. I can say this even before the 29th meeting happens. Why? And we'll spend some more time discussing that. The other option that could happen could be that India versus Pakistan game happens in Pakistan and the finals happens in Pakistan. I think this is the best negotiation, or at least this is something that Pakistan will try and negotiate. They know that the full tournament now happening in Pakistan is not possible, but instead of taking 2 steps back and agreeing to hybrid, I think this is a sort of negotiation that might be put on the table by the Pakistan side, that let's just have India-Pakistan. If not India-Pakistan, at least let's have the finals. Maybe India doesn't make it, but if India does make it, let's have the finals there. There is a possibility that the BCCI might concede on that, maybe one of those demands, and then that could be the common ground. But even that I don't see happening. As I said, hybrid seems to be the most likely scenario, because I don't think India agreeing to travel to Pakistan is a likelihood. But in case there is, maybe a game, and maybe not a game, at least agreeing on the finals, because you really don't know who's going to make it to the final. The other option is if there is a standoff and Pakistan doesn't agree to hybrid, and India then doesn't agree to a smaller demand by Pakistan as mentioned here, then you can have a scenario where the full Champions Trophy will move out of Pakistan. And you may have heard of various venues, but what I'm learning is that Sri Lanka remains the firm favorite. So Sri Lanka will be the place, and the entire tournament will happen without Pakistan, which is why I say Pakistan would not want to risk that and may agree to the hybrid model, because they have a lot to gain by agreeing to this and a lot to lose by not agreeing to this, because this could be a scenario, full Champions Trophy out of Pakistan. If some of you are wondering why I'm not given the other option, that why not have a full Champions Trophy without India, as is being circulated by members of the Pakistan media, that's because that is not a possibility. You cannot have a Champions Trophy without India, and I say that without bias, just looking at pure numbers. For a detailed analysis on that, I've put a link of another video where I've done a detailed analysis as to why Champions Trophy cannot happen without India. The link is in the description. You can check that out as well. Now let's listen into why and what are the reasons that Pakistan may have to go in with the hybrid model. See, they will have to compromise, as I mentioned. Reason 1, $65 million they're going to get for hosting fee. Now, if the tournament is taken out of Pakistan, one reason is they end up or risk losing $65 million. That's a very big amount. You're also hearing stories about the ICC is upped its ante, whereas they've also proposed that if you agree to hybrid, we'll give you even more money. So let me just clarify that as well. That's not that it's a kind of incentive that the ICC is offering so that Pakistan agrees. No, it is primarily looking at it through a commercial view. It is the commerce of the game, which is why they're offering that much money, because once you do the hybrid model, you're preparing your own stadiums, but then India matches happen in UAE. Organizing matches in the UAE could be expensive. There's travel, so on and so forth. So ICC is saying, okay, if hybrid happens, then 65 million was what you're going to get it if you're organizing it in Pakistan. Now hybrid will give you even more money, which is needed since it's going to be over 2 countries. So that's why more money is being offered to Pakistan, and I think that will be very hard for a Pakistan cricket board to resist, which is primarily running on money that they are getting from the ICC through hosting as well as through other avenues, which I will now dwell more into. Reason 2 why Pakistan will have to compromise is, what if the tournament, as I said, there is one scenario, if they do not take a step back or try and negotiate, what if the tournament is successful without Pakistan? As I said, Sri Lanka, as I hear through back channel negotiations, already ready to host the tournament as they did in the Asia Cup as well. What if the tournament happens, Pakistan is not upset, ICC go ahead with the tournament without Pakistan, and that proves to be successful, and that's going to be counterproductive for Pakistan. They would not want a scenario where a tournament goes ahead without Pakistan and is successful, because that will then be a big problem going forward. Anyway, there's a big debate right now that Pakistan can negotiate primarily because of that India-Pakistan match. I've looked at those figures of India-Pakistan match, the link again, the same link in the description, which tells you that it's still not that high in terms of priority, as I said. Not to say that it's not an important match, of course it is, but still not the most important match. And if you have a successful tournament where sponsors are happy, participating teams are happy, television viewership is up without Pakistan, that's not an ideal scenario, and that is something that Pakistan would not want to risk. Reason 3 why they will have to look at a compromise is the kind of money that Pakistan earns through ICC revenue. Now remember, in the next 3 to 4 years, these are the projected figures that each board is going to earn annually. So $230 million India annually, that's 39%. England 7%, Australia 6%, Pakistan the only other country that is getting more than a 5% share from the ICC pie, that's at 35 million at 5.5% every year for the next 4 years. As soon as they defy what the board meeting has decided, and that's going to go by majority, and Pakistan don't agree to compromise, then they end up losing this every year for the next 4 years, and that's going to be very risky. Remember, majority of this money that is divided, 80 to 90% of that comes from India, yet it's divided in this formula that the ICC has devised, where India get 39% and Pakistan still get 5.5%. But if they do not agree to any compromise that the ICC suggests to them, then they risk losing this as well. Reason 4, if Pakistan remain defiant, what happens to future tournaments? Remember, anyway, it's been close to 3 decades they've not hosted an ICC tournament. They're desperate to do that. And if they do follow the hybrid model, then not only will all parties be happy, but a tournament will be organized in Pakistan too, an ICC tournament, a big tournament where a lot of visiting teams minus India will come there. That will give a lot of confidence to other teams to continue visiting Pakistan. That may give a lot of confidence to other teams in the future for Pakistan to hold ICC tournaments. But if they try to play hardball, then this also they run the risk of not having any tournament in Pakistan going forward, and that's the stance that ICC can take, and this is another thing that Pakistan would not want to risk. So enough reasons right now which tells me that hybrid model is a win-win for all parties involved, including Pakistan. As I said, there will be a voting in case Pakistan does not agree. You will see what the majority, see, remember, it's the ICC board, they decide. So yes, the hosting rights are with Pakistan, but if in the meeting on 29th, majority of the boards decide that no, since India is not going, and they side with India and they back the hybrid model, and Pakistan doesn't follow, then in terms of majority, the board can decide whatever the majority says. So hybrid or out of Pakistan, they can take that decision, and that's going to be counterproductive. And why is it that that you think that majority members are going to be voting for the BCCI? I go back to the commerce that I showed you. that ICC revenue that they end up earning is through India. 80% of that money comes. So it's not that there are more boards in alignment with India or there is any other sort of love lost. It's commerce. It's primarily based on that. It's the division of the money, and that is why in all likelihood majority of the members are going to vote in India's favor, and that's how, unfortunately for Pakistan, the cookie crumbles, which is why, as I said, the various options given at the moment, hybrid seems to be the best possible option for all parties involved. Once again, 29th is the meeting, but don't expect the result to come on 29th itself, because there is options that when whatever the ICC decides, hypothetically if it's the hybrid model, they're told to Pakistan they're not going to accept it on the table. They will of course go back, consult their government and come back. So if the meeting is on 29th, they would be given a few days to come back with a counter offer. So the final decision could take maybe 2 or 3 days beyond that. That's the latest that we have on the India-Pakistan saga as well as Champions Trophy. If you look at it objectively, I mean, both teams or both countries are right in a way. Pakistan right in their own way that they want to have a Champions Trophy, the entire tournament in their country, considering they came to India and so many other offers that India had given in Asia Cup. They complied to that. And then for any country, if you look at it from their point of view, they would feel proud to be hosting a tournament, and if that isn't happening, they have all the right to be aggrieved. But you also have to see the reality at the moment. India, on the other hand, are also right not to travel to Pakistan, because as I explained earlier, they've got that intel from the government where they feel that their team is not going to be safe. So they are also right. Both parties right in their way if you look at it from their perspective, but a common ground will have to be found, and at the moment it is looking like a hybrid model. For more such video, don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today and give us a like if you enjoy our content.